ladies and gentlemen, we are live with the Inside Berm podcast. I am your host. Welcome to the weekly edition of Inside Berm. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Wednesday at noon. This is the place to be for local dirt track racing talk, some NASCAR talk, and of course, national sprint car and late model news. I'm your host, Jake Keel, the voice of Southern Oklahoma Speedway and the man behind Monstar Pro Media. We've got a very special guest today. We've got a great episode coming up today. We've got Mr. Chris Walters from the Gulf South region of ASCS here today to talk about everything that's going on with the ASCS brand and everything that's going on with his personal racing journey and everything. And we're going to go to him here very shortly, but I want to talk about our sponsors real quick. Spinebuster brand, the drop last Friday for the Fairgrounds Speedway t-shirts went fantastic. They are going like hotcakes. Get yours now to own your piece of history from Oklahoma City based on old programs from the Fairgrounds Speedway and officially licensed through Shane Carson. So want to give a shout out to that. Jake's Dad Carbs for all your micro 600cc carburetor needs. Call 405-640-6862. And of course, Victory Fuel, your flavored electrolyte water. Victory Fuel for champions. Get your daily dose of vitamins. Has great electrolytes. It's kid-friendly with low sugar, no caffeine, and no artificial coloring. Artificial coloring is starting to be linked to certain things that are happening within our bodies, so it's great to have them on board, and I'm a big proponent of Victory Fuel. Had a few this weekend. I actually need to stock back up. I'm starting to get low. I need to try that Lucky Lemon here soon. We've got a few people already tuning in. So if you go to drinkvictory.com and use the code MonstarPro for 10% off your total order, that helps podcast. It helps us get, keep revenue stream coming in, helps us support local racing, helps me get to tracks that otherwise I normally wouldn't go to, and of course keeps the lights on. So we got Missy Epler Sandoval. Hey, glad to see you on here today. New listener. Red Rediker. Hey man, it's great to have you on today. That's all I've got for right now. We're going to go ahead and bring on our guest today. He is the promoter for the ASCS Gulf South Region. And all-around great guy. He's been a long-time supporter of the podcast. And let's hear it from Mr. Chris Walters. Hey, Chris, it's good to have you on today. It's going good over here. I'm glad. I'm very happy to have you on. You've been commenting on a lot of our stuff. We've been covering heavily the work that goings on with the ASCS brand and everything. And it's been very insightful to have you commenting. You've brought some knowledge to me as well. So I'm glad to have you on. And the comments are lighting up for you right now. We got Josh Hegwood, Mr. Chick Magnet himself. Hey Josh, glad to have you commenting. Oh, it looks like your wife is watching right now.
And my mother. The next one's my mother. So
Missy is your mother. I got you. Well, fantastic, man. I'm like I said, I'm glad to have you on. And I usually give this moment for my guests to kind of share a little bit about themselves and what exactly you do in racing. So I'll let you kind of take the wheel from here for a few moments.
Yeah. So I've been in racing since the day I was born. I think 2 weeks later, I don't know, mom was pregnant going races, and 2 weeks later I was back at the track. So ever since then, I've been at the track anywhere from being in the car to working on the cars. My dad, my mom, my uncles, we all ran. They had super stock wings on them,
Mhm.
commercial stock cars, UMP modifieds, IMCA modifieds, asphalt. I mean, you name it, we did it. So I've been in it and around it for a very long time. First full year as a promoter, but I'm not new to the racing scene. Dirt for sure. I'm 36 years old and I've been in it for 36 years. So
That's fantastic. I'm the same way. I'm 30. I'm turning 34 this year, and my parents said that the first race that they brought me to, I was 18 months old. So, not too far off from there. But I actually just took my 18-month-old to her first race this past weekend. So it's kind of like
started early,
just kind of like bringing it all back. But
right?
yeah, I completely understand that life. My dad was a flagman at the Oklahoma State Fairgrounds, and so we were there every Friday night, and I,
Yeah, it was
just kind of born into it.
There was a few years there where it was every Friday, Saturday night for years. The racing season, you probably shouldn't have called us to do anything because we were going to be somewhere at the racetrack. And at that time, in the early 90s, mid 90s through the early 2000s, I mean, there was tons of tracks in this area. So there was racing going on everywhere. So there wasn't a shortage of it then.
Absolutely. Yeah, we did that every Friday night until I started playing T-ball, and then my dad was like, "Hey, you have too many games going on like Fridays and such, so we gotta stop going to the races for a little while," and that didn't really make me want to play T-ball anymore. But
Right.
but so you're the region coordinator for ASCS Gulf South Region, and there's been a lot going on with ASCS this year. Tell us a little bit. Tell us a little bit first about how you got involved with ASCS and that kind of journey there.
So originally, it's kind of I wanted to get into it. I just didn't know how to do it on my own and what I really wanted to do. I knew I wanted to bring the sprint cars back south in Texas and Louisiana, and basically all I did, I had a conversation with a few people, and so I reached out to Terry Maddox, and it was probably about a 15-minute conversation, and he was like, "Go for it." And from there, last year we weren't really supposed to do anything. I was going to spend all of last year just kind of preparing for this year, getting everything together, and then the excitement for it and the people wanting it to come back. So we ended up scheduling 3 races last year. Ended up running 2. We weren't supposed to have none, and we in Waco we had over 20 cars, show up to Waco. So that's how we ended the year, and then here we are this year. Everything was good, and then everything started coming out, and really wasn't sure where we were going to be. So in our end, we started putting together a backup plan, as we were going to go racing regardless, whether it was ASCS or not. So we had all that ready to go, and then the World Racing Group thing happened, and they got in contact with us all, and we all had a conversation, and they put together a plan. And if we agreed to it, and of course on our end, it's smart for me to take that deal and continue
Absolutely
doing this with World Racing Group, because it's not an easy company to get involved in, and being able to be a promoter, say you're a promoter with World Racing Group and ASCS, for me that's top for me, and then you can only go up from there. So being able to be a part of them, they've been very helpful. They've been very supportive of everything, and they're just as excited as we are to get this thing started at RPM this coming weekend.
Yes. Now I did pull up the banner for that, March 15th and 16th at RPM Speedway. That's this Friday and Saturday, starting at 5 p.m. The pits open on Friday, 6 p.m. the grandstands, and then hot laps at 7. Tell us a little bit about how this came about. There was supposed to be a start of the season earlier this year, and then everything kind of got pushed back, and now we're back on. And RPM's a great little track for these cars, and I'm real excited to see what y'all are able to do there.
Yeah, we were, in the background, I was hot and heavy on South Texas Race Ranch with Owen. I mean, I already knew that the race was being canceled. We knew it wasn't going to happen before it came out, and I was doing everything in my power to make Bob's Backyard Band show up and put on a show, as what we were called, to try to put on. And we were joking about it the other day. I said, "Man, you did me wrong with that comment." But we did everything, and it just didn't work out. It's a tough deal there. But having RPM stay on board and get going, is really good for us to get our season started. As it is, it's ASCS Gulf South race. But our guys, I determined on my end, because we weren't sure what we were doing. We knew that our first official race was going to be in Chatham, regardless. What was going to happen. So our guys are getting show-up points. So they show up to race, they get points. If they don't, it's not really going to hurt them all that much, because a lot of guys weren't planning on it because we didn't know what was going to happen.
Right.
But we're glad it's happening. I'm going to be there. Our team's going to be there to support the national guys and to support Matt Ward and Brian Dunlap and their whole team there, and be able to put all our heads together and make the shows happen. Some of the schedules have changed due to change of hands, but mostly the Gulf South schedule is going on the same. We didn't take any dates off of our schedule except for the Texas Motor Speedway, which was a co-national event anyway. So none of our Gulf South independent shows have changed. So we're running our show 100% to what I put together.
Fantastic. So I've always wondered this, whenever you have a region like this, when you have, you're the ASCS Gulf South region, you have the national tour, and then you have, the Sooner region, the Gulf South region, and all these little regions. How much support do you get from the ASCS, or in this case, the World Racing Group, once you start promoting under their banner?
So really, honestly, everything is still, there's nothing that's lined out directly. We don't know. We only know what we're doing this weekend. I should say that. And we haven't lined out all the details. Mainly everything that we agreed upon with the last regime is going forward. And they're actually putting in a little bit more effort into the regionals. They want to see the regions, blow up and get big and stay, pretty strong. And that is kind of what I look at it. And I'm a baseball guy. And, I look at it in the terms of a scout or like a minor league, where you produce shows, you produce talent, you build these guys up. I mean, if you look at the Gulf South history, that's all you need to look at. I mean, guys are coming down here wanting to beat these guys.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I want to get it back to. I want to get it back to a top tier region. So, these guys come down here and race, you're running with the best. And they are fully in support of our efforts. And, us region guys, we talk to each other as well. We talk purses, we talk rules, we talk drivers. Hey, let's work on the schedule here so some of your drivers can come run with us and vice versa. We have a couple ASCS Hurricane versus ASCS Gulf South races. And I'm sure we'll be working with Mid-South and Sooner. I'm not sure what Mid-South is doing. But we all collaborate with each other and make sure that we build our car counts and we're not running on top of each other. And we're pretty good about that.
That's awesome. I mean, it also, I know it helps your promotion itself to, have the ASCS branding and now the World Racing Group branding, especially, whenever they're streaming these events live on the internet and everything. It helps out a lot with sponsorship and all of that. And I'm excited to see what you do with this brand. I mean, it's been a rough start just with what ASCS has done here, in the last couple months, but it looks like there's a very nice light at the end of the tunnel now, so to speak.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it was a headache there was literal silence for a good 2-3 weeks. Like there was nothing coming out. There was no conversation. There was no, we're doing this, we're doing that. And that's when I said, I told my wife, I said, I'm sorry, but I gotta make other plans and spend a little money to get something else going so we can get this season started. I called the tracks and just said, hey, look, I know what's going on. We're still strong. We're going to come, and our drivers are dedicated to us, to my series, to my business, and they know what I'm about. And then, so we had that plan. Like whatever they told me that it wasn't going to change anything. Whether they told me, hey, you're not going to do it or you are going to do it, and they decided to keep us and decided to keep doing the regions, and that saved me a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of rebranding, merch, everything. Just a lot of things go into it that you really didn't want that to happen, and thankful that it didn't. And is regardless of what people think about World Racing Group, this is the best thing that could have happened.
Well, the World Racing Group, I mean, I've been an Outlaw fan since I was a kid. I was raised in sprint car country. Oklahoma used to be a hotbed for 410 racing, and it dropped off a little bit there. And part of that was due to the ASCS having a stronghold in the state, but the Outlaws kind of going away from the state. But I see no problem with World Racing Group grabbing a hold of this brand, and I feel like, in my personal opinion, as a fan and as someone with a little bit of an in the racing business, that they're only going to help the ASCS grow stronger. Especially if they are fully committed to keeping these regional brands going.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Yeah, they're definitely dedicated to the regional stuff, and it's right now it's still day by day. I mean, this is a deal that was put together in less than a week tops. Something that would take a year or two possibly to put together. So you can imagine everything that's going on and things that are happening. So, I'm just plugging, just chugging along with what I got. And as things come, we'll shift gears then. But right now it's just business as usual.
So, even if ASCS, I'm playing devil's advocate here. So about a month ago is when all this news started dropping. If ASCS had ceased to exist at that point, would you have just gone on as just the Gulf South Region Racing, or what was your plan there?
Yeah, so we had several options in play. We had several people that come up to us and, offered to assist us in that. And, we had the option to join Hurricane. Stefan and I, we have a good working relationship, the Hurricane Haas ASCS series. And then I decided that I was just going to build my own, just a whole new thing from the ground up is basically what we were going to do. And we had all that in place, insurance and everything was laid out on the table and ready to hit send if we needed to. And fortunately we didn't have to, but we had everything ready to go. It took me about a week, 2 weeks, to figure out what I wanted to do in the plan. And we had the opportunity to, move into something else that was already existing. But I felt like for me, we wanted to do something on our own. And to answer your comment on Hurricane is Louisiana, Alabama, over in that area. That's the ASCS Hurricane Haas, or Haas.
Yeah. The Hurricane area super sprints, correct?
Yeah, that is correct.
I got you. Yeah, I was actually looking that up myself to give an answer on that if all of that. But Um, I'm so excited, that ASCS is continuing. I saw a lot of ASCS racing as a kid at the Oklahoma City Fairgrounds. I can remember hearing a name for the first time and wondering, who's that? Who's that guy in the number 41 with the big star on the side of it? Oh, it's Jason Johnson, who becomes one of my favorite drivers in the world.
And I don't know that a lot of people knew that. This year, moving forward, I did get the praises and happiness from Bobby, Jason Johnson's spouse, former spouse, and she gave us the green light on having the Gulf South Championship be named after Jason Johnson. So our championship trophy is a Jason Johnson Memorial Trophy, and it's going to be it's a pretty sweet trophy. People are going to be a little jealous that they didn't come win that trophy. So it's very unique, and we're proud to be able to have that, to be able to give to our drivers.
Bobby's a wonderful lady.
Little incentive to come run for points at the Gulf South.
Bobby is a wonderful lady. I got the honor to interview her a few years ago, and she's a wonderful person. I really enjoyed talking to her, and
most definitely.
But that's awesome. I really love that. He's one of those people that his legacy should be celebrated in this sport because he's such a good person and, really cared about this sport. But I'm just happy that seemingly the ASCS is going to be in good hands going forward. And, now we've talked a little bit about that. Let's pivot here and talk about your season. You've got a lot of sponsors on board. We'll make sure that they all get their plugs today. But tell us a little bit about, your season and what's going to be happening this year.
So we put together, I don't know, at one point, I think it was 20-something races with the national stuff. It was a crazy, long schedule. I think we're somewhere around 15 now, with a lot of them being multiple dates. I know we have, don't catch me lying here, I think we got 6 races at Lone Star. So Lone Star's opening back up this year in Kilgore, and they're quote-unquote our home track this year, giving them the most of our races and the special events, big races, 2-day shows. We go all the way out to Abilene this year, which will be a good event. We'll be at Grayson County, Hunt County for the Southern World Finals. So that race was kind of emulated off the World Finals, and so it's gonna be the Southern modifieds, the big block modifieds. It's going to be Crate Lake Models and us, so the big 3 at Hunt County, and we'll be at Big O. And we're just spreading around a little bit, and we'll be at Sabine Speedway in Louisiana and Chatham Super B. So we're excited to be able to go that way as well.
So being the Gulf South region, what exactly are there barriers to where you can go? Like, you got to go this far from here, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So a lot of people will say, man, that's not the Gulf South. I guess I picked the Gulf South because of history and not necessarily the name per se, just the history of the Gulf South is what I wanted to continue. But I mean, I'll stretch as far west and as far east as I can get, as far north as I can get without causing any problems. Pretty much Texas I'm the only one in Texas, and nobody besides the 410, besides the Elite Series 410s, there is no 360 promotions in Texas. So I have free reign over anybody that wants us there as far as 360 racing goes. I mean, I can stretch wherever as far south as Corpus and Edna, all the way north to Abilene and Lubbock, and I'd like to be at Lubbock and all of them too as well. So, I got guys that call from New Mexico, Arizona, wanting to come race if we race out west. So we're definitely excited about that as well.
That's fantastic. I've never quite knew exactly what the limitations were there, because I know there's Sooner Region, there's now as you said, the
Basically, I
hurricane
do it
region.
you basically do it just like you used to, the old adage, ask for, do it and ask for permission later, and then, just do it and then book it and, just do it and apologize later. But I've had no issues with it. And, yeah, but I do want to reiterate, we did cancel that South Texas race ranch was scheduled, but we'll actually be back there in July as a Gulf South race, and hopefully a couple more, another race there, plus in Edna as well. So looking forward to those as well.
That's fantastic. I'm that I really like, gaining that kind of knowledge and knowing, what the behind the scenes details go forth with this kind of thing. And
I like to, so behind the scenes is basically working a 40-hour a week job and not getting paid for it.
right.
There's a lot
Right.
of work to it. I mean, obviously you can see in my office here, and I spend a lot of time on the phone talking to people, and you get a lot of no's, so it takes a lot of time to get a yes, and you're working hard on that. And the scheduling part, I think, for me was unique and interesting. I didn't have any. I went in it head first, didn't know what I was doing. Just a super fan, racer, loving the sport. I mean, I would be dead honest. If you're not a fan, you wouldn't be doing this.
Right.
You don't get paid. There's long nights, long weekends, travel. I mean, a lot of it's out of your own pocket. We don't get paid a salary or anything. It's based off, whatever you can bring in. And mostly everything we bring in goes back to the series and goes back to the drivers, whatever we get. So, yeah, it's pretty hectic, but it all comes to fruition when you get out there that Friday or Saturday night, man. If you ever see me on video or anything, my wife hates it. I get excited. I'm out there, just going crazy. So I enjoy it. I don't like being up in the tower. I like being on the infield so I can see everything. And I get a little into it for the fans and for the drivers. So so it's fun. I enjoy it.
I completely get you there, man. I'm an announcer. I get paid what I get paid whenever I go to a track, but the countless hours that I am prepping for an announced night, I have a spreadsheet that I keep, and the data entry job that I do on a weekly basis with that spreadsheet to keep up with everybody and their sponsors and everything. I could get paid minimum wage for a data entry job. But even with this podcast, I work from home, and so I do this on my lunch hour every Wednesday, and I'm literally working on this podcast all week to decide, what is going on for next week's show, to prepare, bring up things that, have gone on this during the week. And then as soon as this is over, I'm switching back over to my work computer and I'm working again. So I completely understand, the prep that goes behind that. But so this is technically your second year promoting.
Correct.
Where do you see yourself going in this business? Is this something that you
want to
do full time, or?
Oh yeah, no doubt. Yeah, this is something this is the whole goal, and get my feet in there, get wet, and it's kind of propelled me to a different direction with World Racing Group. So that's pretty exciting. I'm doing some stuff outside of sprint cars as well. Outside of ASCS, I'm promoting Southern Wing Nationals at Kilgore. We're going to have wing stock cars. We're going to have the sprint cars. We're going to have all three. We're going to have the non-wing elite. We're going to have the ASCS 360s. We're going to have 305s. We're going to have winged modifieds and wing stock cars. So that's going to be a cool event in July at Lone Star. I'm also promoting the Lone Star Chassis Challenge, which will be at Kilgore as well, which is going to be you win those races, you win a factory stock chassis and a limited modified chassis. So that's going to be a big event. Hoping we get a lot of traction on those. But my main goal, my main priority is ASCS, and that's where my heart lies. I just want to kind of dip my toes in some other stuff and just kind of see what it's about and get some experience. And I got a lot of people behind me. I get advice from, and I may even dabble into a little asphalt sprint car stuff too. So never know what I'm gonna come up with.
So basically, if it goes fast and it turns left, you're into it.
Oh yeah, and I've had to calm myself on doing stuff, because you get into it, and then for me, I like to be in different cookie jars and like to put my hand in everything, and it's just I've always been that way, regardless of what it is. So I've said, hey, let's focus where we're at, and even my buddies and my sponsors say, hey, let's just focus on this. You can do this, you got these, but let's focus here. And I've been able to kind of just buckle down and focus where I need to focus, which is ASCS, build this back up and get it to the point where it's running itself, and I just have to show up and just be there. And I can still be doing other things, because I want to do. There's a lot of things I want to do, but racing is a passion, so that's where I want to be. And if I can stay doing Gulf South for the rest of my life, I'll do it. And I told him, I said, as long as you let me be here, I'll be here. And the dedication's there. I love it. And like you said, if you're not dedicated, you're not a fan, you wouldn't be doing it.
And that's what we love to hear as fans and as people who work within the sport, is that people that care like you do. Like one of our comments said, that you had a backup plan, even if things went south. And that's what we like to hear. There's a lot of people that get in this sport and they're out as quickly as they are in. And it's because they don't have
people. I was like, I have cars sitting in the shop, but I'm not one that's, this ain't working out. I'm done. I'm gonna go back racing. I have no interest in doing that. This is where my passion lies, so it's not easy. I easily could have gave up when this ASDS stuff started happening, and I stuck with it. And that's my plan moving forward, is to stick with this and grow it back to where it used to be. Get elite drivers running for us, and people wanting to beat the Gulf South drivers. So that's where I want to be, and produce. Not just a sprint car show, but an entertainment show. I mean, we got things lined up that ain't never been seen before. Nobody's ever done before. So as a regional show, you don't see that very often. So we're excited about that as well.
I like to hear it. Yeah. And as a former driver myself, I used to race micro sprints. Promoters like you are the people that I want to run for. And, I want to be involved with people that want to give back as much as they take. You know what I'm saying? And so I really enjoy it. I'm going to try to make a few of your events this year, especially so we can meet in person and everything. But
for sure,
I'm very proud to have you on the show.
I appreciate you. Media, this type of stuff I do. I haven't done one in a little while, but these things, they really help. They get your name out there. Let us know what we're doing. It helps, drive some sponsors in the door, which this is what it's all about. I mean, it's money driven. If you don't have sponsors, you ain't got a show. So absolutely, anybody that wants to get in, it doesn't matter if you got $100 or $10,000, I take them all. So if you want to be involved and get your name out there and be on our social media and be involved in our weekends, we're always looking to bring in new partners.
That's what I say each and every week on this podcast. Is I run a Patreon, and it's as little as $5 helps. Right. It helps. And so it really is the truth. If you want to sponsor racing and you have extra cash it's only going to help.
Yeah,
and it only helps. I used to back in my first real stint as a announcer, I ran a deal where I sold hats. It just said, "Make dirt racing great again." We got to make it great again by bringing new fans to the track, and by investing in our future. And there's not a lot of people that are doing that right now. And we got to get back to it so that we don't lose this thing we love.
I agree.
So, man, it was great having you on. What was that?
I said, that's why I do it. Get the young kids out there, get everybody, give them somewhere to go,
absolutely.
Micro sprints, be able to come from a 305, be able to get into a 360, and maybe one day run with the Outlaws.
Even just making new fans. If we're seeing a really bad trend right now where race fans are dying off, and there's not new ones that are replacing them. And like, I go to a racetrack every weekend, and the average race fan age is very high. And so we got to do our part to get that lowered again, so that we have new generations of race fans. But I was going to give you a little time, since we're kind of wrapping up on the interview side, to plug some of your sponsors. So I've got their logos here if you want to go ahead and talk about them.
For sure. Yeah, I always want to talk about my sponsors. Maybe they'll give me some more money. So our title sponsor is on everything. He's everywhere. Pipeline MD, Mark Sharkey. Last year and all this wouldn't have come together without him. So we appreciate Pipeline MD moving forward, and we can't thank them enough for helping bring this 360 racing back to the Gulf South.
Fantastic.
And then we got Willie's Racing Products. Will Reed. He's one of our drivers. Very supportive of this series and all the drivers and everything. So we appreciate him as well. And C4 Branding, they've done a lot of our merchandise and our logo, created our new logo and everything. So we really do appreciate them. So Precision Spray Foam, one of our could be a presenting sponsor. They're very helpful and willing to do anything to help keep this series going, was even instrumental in trying to put money into the Corpus race to keep it. So we definitely thank them, and we're happy to have them on again this year. Who's Your Racing Tire? That's all I need to say about them. Appreciate it. Brazos Tractor Power Sports, they're out of Angleton, Texas. They sponsored a utility vehicle for the series, push vehicle. So we do appreciate them, and hoping to get some more stuff out of them here in the near future. MSC Trucking and Demolition, we thank them, and they are out of the Brazoria County area down South Texas. Fastway Auto Rehab, that is good friends of ours. They're willing to help out anything. They really helped us out on getting merchandising done, so we appreciate them. Skyview, they're a year sponsor. They're coming back from last year. They put in a lot more this year into the series with a little bit extra than they did last year, and we appreciate the Skyview family for staying on with us.
And then this is a company that I'm very familiar with from Monarch, Race On.
Race On. Yeah, so everything that Chris and his team have done has been crazy. He helped us out with merchandise, along with many other things of promoting us and getting his people into our pages and helping with social media and all that stuff and putting stuff together for us, and you can't do it without those guys, and you got to support those guys just as much as they support all of us. So thank you to Chris and his team.
Fantastic. Well, once again, Chris, it was great having you on. I'm going to move on to the last part of the podcast here, but we're going to go ahead and plug your race this weekend. March 15th and 16th, RPM Speedway. You'll be able to see the ASCS National Tour and the Gulf South region, correct?
That is correct.
Fantastic. Well, hot laps start at 7 o'clock both nights, Central Time. Pits open at 5 p.m. on Friday and 12 p.m. on Saturday, with the grandstands opening at 6 p.m. And if you can't make it out there, you can watch that on Dirt Vision. Once again, Chris, I really thank you for supporting the podcast and being on.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you, Jake. Thank you, and I hope to see everybody out there this weekend. Come by and see me.
Absolutely. We'll have you on again here real soon.
Sounds good, man. Maybe we get some recap shows or something going.
There we go. We'll do it.
Sounds good, buddy. Thanks.
Have a good one. And that was Chris Walters from the Gulf South region. Man, it was great, talking to him. We've got some comments here from his mother's daddy was a huge race fan and driver. I'm sorry to hear about your loss, Missy and Chris, but I'm sure he would have. I know my father's proud of me being an announcer, being in racing. It's awesome. It's awesome. I'm very, very, very happy for Chris and glad that this thing's rolling the way he wants to. Jamie, the fans are there. It's just expensive. It really is. It really is. But this has been a problem for a while. This has been a problem since even when the economy was still a little better, and I don't know quite how to solve it at this point. It's been a really tough, undertaking to try to make new race fans. And thank you, Jamie. I believe I'm going to see you at Southern Oklahoma Speedway this year, right? I saw the new wrap. It looks really good. Let's pull up some recap from Southern Oklahoma Speedway this past weekend. Opening night, great night of racing. Great night of racing. Fantastic. Well, I'm excited to see you back at the racetrack, Jamie. Really good racing all the way through. We'll start with the IMCA Southern Sport Mods. Josh Landers and Jeff Shepard, Jarrett Bransom. They all were working hard for this A feature win. Josh Landers ended up picking up the win, going 5th to 1st. A really good run for that 14X. Tommy Dove was really was running away with it for a little while and thought it was going to be an easy going for him, but it ended up turning around on him. There was some really great side-by-side racing in that one. The hobby stocks, Flying Ryan Powers coming on and leading from the start and just did not stop. He had some really good competition there with Richard George Jr., Jeff Hauser, Sonny Chofin, and Ruben Broussard, just not able to seal the deal there. Congrats to Flying Ryan Powers. EcoBod race. This was probably the most exciting race of the night due to everything that happened during it. Austin Fincher led a lot of the way, but the man that really dominated this race was the 11-year-old Langston Fetty, and Langston got ran up off the track by a lap car, ended up having to put him at the back. Then as he's flying through the field, got tangled up with Joe Hopkins, who'd already had a bad night, was a part of a few cautions that weren't his own fault. It was neither man's fault. It was just a racing thing that happened. Glad to see both drivers were okay. But it ended up not going well for both of those drivers. And I'll try to get some video on that, maybe show that next week, as we are canceled for this weekend. We were supposed to do the Southern Stampede this weekend at Southern Oklahoma Speedway. It is canceled due to expected rain showers. So sucks for that, but another really good race up front. The IMCA stock cars, Eric Miles picking up the win. Shelby Williams looked like he was going to dominate it early on, and then had a problem, went right off the top of the track, but was able to salvage a 3rd place finish out of the night. But my MVP of the night was Cutter Spalding. Cutter Spalding was moved up 5 spots in the stock cars, was really fast, went from 9th to 4th, and was contending for the win. And he did the same thing in the Southern Sport Mods. He went from 10th to 5th. And overall, between both races of the night, he was your hard charger. A really good showing for Cutter Spalding from Abilene, Texas. I can't wait to see more of the driver, the number 18 this year. And then Tim Hamilton going from 8th to 1st to win IMCA Modified. A really great run by him. William Gould going 9th to 2nd right behind him. Both of those men battled it out for the lead with Chad Melton. The guy that started on pole, Matthew Day, we thought he was going to run away with it, ended up coming home 12th after a late race caution. But man, what a great night to start Southern Oklahoma Speedway. Southern Oklahoma Speedway's campaign. There's 85 cars in the house. A lot we're getting ready for this week, the 3-night event for the Southern Stampede, but unfortunately, due to weather, we are having to cancel. So we will be back. Excuse me, let me pull that back up. We will be back on the 23rd of this month with the Southern Sport Mods, Hobby Stocks, Eco Mods, IMCA Sport Compact, and 305 Wing Sprint cars. So a little bit of a switch up there. No IMCA stock cars and no IMCA modifieds that night, but we do get the Sport Compacts and the 305s. Then April 6th, we've got the Touring Outlaw modifieds in the house, along with Southern Sport Mods, Hobby Stocks, and Eco Mods. So keep your eye on this. Keep your eye on the schedule for Southern Oklahoma Speedway. It's a really good one this year. They've got a lot of really great racing going on, including that April 19th. The high limit sprint cars are in the house. 410 sprint car racing in Southern Oklahoma Speedway with the Hobby Stocks that night. It's going to be a really great year, and I'm very excited to see everything go on down there. So that's all I got for you this week. I have been Jake. You guys have been awesome, and I will see you next Wednesday. I may even throw in a couple bonus episodes going forward. Don't forget, guys, if you want to support the podcast, you can join us on our Patreon. That is www.patreon.com/InsideBerm. For as little as $5 a month, you'll be able to enjoy extra content and support me. That's the biggest thing, is you support me in this podcast, and you help me be able to give back to racing and help make a better future for dirt racing. So thank you guys once again for joining me tonight. Go to Etsy.com and Etsy.com/Spinebuster brand and hit up your Fairgrounds Speedway t-shirts. Hats are coming soon. And thank you once again, guys. We'll talk to you later. See you next week.